Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Na'Vi versus Just Error, Game 1. This is the first set of games in the Epic League today. And we'll have to see how this ends up going. Oh, I'm sorry, it's already a minute in, but it wasn't appearing on the tournament tab, so I had to wait for it to appear on Dota TV. Does mean we missed the first couple of picks, but either way, we are here now, and we're ready to watch some Dotes. So Just Error, they're leading up with an Io and the Sven pickup. Always is good to ramping up any sort of carry, making them super mobile around the map, let them get involved in a lot of kills. And a hero like Sven definitely likes to just start getting involved pretty soon, as well as having the ability just to fall back and start farming with the bonus to cleave. So it's already a nice little setup for him. And I'll be leading up with the Shen. See what they're going to take as their second pick, whether they're going to go for like a core role. A lot of teams do just follow up with the first two picks as a support and then the position one. That is just like sort of the meta that this current patch has fallen into. So see if that follows suit. Maybe Navi's going to grab something as well. Potentially, Lifestealer might not be too bad. Go up against the Sven. Yep, and they do actually grab that straight away. Just the fact that even if Sven gets his Aghanims and tries to stun jump onto the Lifestealer, he can always just pop his Rage and then turn around and fight. And generally does a pretty good job of being able to man up against the Sven. So that's both cores and both position 5s grabbed for both teams. So now it's going to be a lot of off-laner and mid-laner bans coming out. Timber gets taken away, the Enigma gets taken away. Doom's already been taken off the Pwix. So, just they've already got their sort of diving in carry, but generally, as you've got an IO pickup, you want someone who can be able to set up for those relocate kills across the map. So, you can maybe see something like a Mars coming out for the side of Just Error in the hands of no one. It would be pretty good. It's obviously, put down that arena and traps. Actually, no, scratch that. He's going to be up against a Lifestealer. And Lifestealer is pretty damn good against the Mars for obvious reasons. Pop that Rage, run straight through the arena. So I probably won't see that actually. The Lifestealer alone, just making sure this Mars probably won't come out. So maybe possibly even something like the Nature's Prophet could end up coming out. No one does play that in the off lane. Even has the teleport for even more global presence for the side of Just Error. Then even with catching someone out in Sprout, potentially that could set up for the relocate coming in from the Iron Sven. Even though Sprout isn't really the most reliable guaranteed stun. Na'Vi actually take away the Slardar. Just worried about this sort of like Magic Community piercing bashes. You can just remove the Tide Hunter now. So heavy amount of bans focused onto no one there. Just trying to reduce the amount of heroes, effective heroes that he could potentially bring out. There's actually a Rubik to be picked up for the side of Na'Vi. So that will most likely fall into the hands of Roger for the position 4. Yeah, and the Stormhammer steal off the Sven is pretty damn strong on the Rubik. The stun just lasts so damn long. But even still, if the Sven does just Superman on top of the Rubik, there's not much he can do to survive. He will just fall pretty quickly. Just they're actually going to grab the Earthshaker as their third pickup, so just going to be the position 4 to be roaming around the map and trying to make as much space for the Sumail in the mid lane as he can. So we'll probably see a very tanky style off laner who can survive on their own. They will grab the Morphling. So is that going to be for Sumail in the mid, or no one does actually play Morphling? So we could potentially see him take that into the off lane, just try and solo that as the Morphling. I mean, there's no sort of instant disables on the Lifestealer or the Shen to be able to try and catch him out before he can get his strength morph off, so the Morphling will have that going in his favour. If it is going to be no one, obviously, but I mean, you do tend to see that in the Morphling either in the position 1 or the mid lane. It's quite rare to see it as an off-laner hero. Even still, Na'Vi, they actually ban out the Mars, despite the fact that they've already got the Lifestealer, so they're not really worried. They're not really choosing to just rely solely on that Lifestealer counter. Just want to make sure that big ultimate doesn't come out to disrupt the rest of the team. Na'Vi, they even actually did grab the Beastmaster as well, just that guaranteed magic immunity piercing stun. Obviously, it may have been like a sort of counter pick as well, as it wasn't banned out and they wanted to snatch that away from no one. It is a hero he can play up, especially with that Raw managing to keep the Lifestealer locked down. So it most likely is still going to be no one's hero left to pick up. We could maybe see something like a Dragon Knight, perhaps. It is someone who can sustain relatively well on himself, but I mean, he doesn't have any escape against the Lifestealer though. If he gets caught, he will fall pretty quickly. So maybe someone who has like a disengaging blink, perhaps like a Queen of Pain or a Void Spirit could work quite well. I'll have to just wait and see though. But even still, it's looking like Na'Vi's still after their mid laner. Needs some pickup for Iceberg. And they are somewhat lacking damage. All they've really got so far is the Lifestealer. So you're gonna need someone else who can actually, give the Lifestealer a little bit of assistance in these coming fights. Maybe something like an Ember Spirit, perhaps. Someone who can get in and out. Always quite elusive as well. Storm Spirit's already been banned out. Or maybe someone who can build into an Orchid to try and counteract this Morphling before he gets the Manta style, maybe. So maybe something like a Queen of Pain as well for the side of Just Error. So the choices are there. It's actually going to be a Bristleback snapped up for the side of Justera, so I think Sumail has played this in the mid lane before. So we could see that still happening, or whether if they are just going to put this into the hands of no one for the off lane, and then it will be Sumail taking the Morphling in the mid. And yeah, that is what they're going to do. So Sumail is taking up the Morph, no one going off lane with the Bristle. Meanwhile, the last pick on the side of Na'Vi was the Zeus. So definitely a hero that can actually assist in dealing some damage in these fights. But, I mean, he's pretty squishy in the early portion, so a good couple of rotations that's going to be coming out from Zayak could potentially set up a few kills for Sumail in the mid lane. Especially seeing how the Zeus does not have a natural sort of disengage ability, he just has to try and waddle away. And he's super damn slow. So, it's going to be a lot of pressure onto Iceberg just to make sure he doesn't get caught out, spending a lot of money on those wards. Actually, never mind. Observer wards are free. How could I forget such a thing? And still, looking at these lineups. I don't know, I'm quite liking Just Errors. Probably the fact that it's not the easiest game for the Zeus. Sumail could just dive straight towards the back lines, even he could get relocated on top of him as well. Because if Iceberg falls, it is just solely up to Vtune to actually start dishing out the damage for his team and try and keep themselves in those fights. So yeah, I'm favouring Just Error. But we'll have to see how if that's actually how the game's going to end up going. goes. Even still, game 1 between Na'Vi and 404. We'll see who's able to take the first match and try and get the momentum rolling on to the rest of this series. But a good bit of sportsmanship, lots of good lucks and have funs coming out from both sides there. That's what you like to see. You never like to see arsehole professional players. It still doesn't look like anyone's going for any sort of particular tri-lane play or going to try and do some early aggressions towards these bounty runes. Everyone split up pretty evenly across the map. The central wall comes up for always one fly just to stop the block the creep camp, but it does actually just out of range from the ward here. But even still, this ward gets him the vision of that counter ward whilst also blocking out the pool camp. So pretty close. But even still, not going to be any pulls coming out for this lane. Well, not until a few sentry wards start coming out and then more D wards happen. That will ensue pretty soon. Why is this bristleback skin so dark? Like when you're looking from up, why is it so black? Can't see anything. Even still, it's just a 2-for-2 trade across all the bounties. I mean, nowadays on the IOs, you do tend to see like they actually grab a first item of a bracer and then take the overcharge and then try and like do a little bit of early on harassment whilst also just getting that natural sustain that comes out from the bracer itself. But it's choosing just to go for more of a traditional build. 2 rings of regen and starting off Tether, just trying to sustain Ramses as much as they can. They've actually done a little swap around here. Ramses has gone down towards their off lane as their safe lane, but Na'Vi have actually read this and put General here down there themselves, so this all gets completely flipped on its head. So there's still the off lane and safe lane positions, just on the opposite sides of the map. Even though it's like they need to position themselves to block that camp, he actually puts himself in the range just so it tricks Na'Vi into thinking that there isn't a ward blocking it. It was just himself, so it will make that ward just survive for an extra like minute, 30 seconds, just until the next creep camp spawn would actually come. Still, there's not going to be too much early aggression. A lot of sustain that's going to be coming out from Solo and Ramsey, so it's going to be difficult for always want to fly and General to get a kill. Meanwhile, in the mid, level 1 rotation coming out from Xayah tries to go for the early Fissure, but he doesn't actually produce it quick enough. And Iceberg's able just to walk away. It looks like he did cancel it quite a few times when he could have tried to get that block and stop Iceberg from being able to retreat. But even still, this is the benefit of having a Bristleback as your off laner. Xayah can just freely start running around. Fissure does come out again. Iceberg's now blocked off, gets forced to run towards him, but there's no damage follow-up. Samil doesn't really care what Xayah's doing. He's just focusing on those last hits. He even gets the last hit on the range creep as the deny. But even still, Iceberg does have a little bit of a CS lead. Already got his bottle out and ready. There's not too much that a solo Bristle can really do to try and harass out the V-Tune. Oh, he's not solo anymore. Xayah actually rotates around, gets a Fissure connection. The V-Tune just goes to the TP back. He actually TPs all the way to the base rather than just TPing back to his tower. Oh, but of course he actually just gets the return. What's it actually called? The Divine Favour from the Shen brings him all the way back to the lane, so it's actually a much more worthwhile TP. Gets him back to full HP, full mana. It's a super long cooldown though, it's like 2 minutes plus. Yeah, 140 seconds level 1. Pretty damn long timer. So, Ramses following up the stun now on towards one fly, just showing a little bit of harassment. They don't quite have the resources to try and get a kill just yet. Meanwhile, though, General always will fly. Going to try and turn this around to Ramsey. He's getting slowed down quite a lot with these board hits, and there's the pure right clicks that are coming out from the Rubik as well. Ramsey's getting pretty low, but they've run out of fuel in the tank and they can't keep the chase going. So Ramsey's does survive. Just sustain coming out from the IO is enough to just make Na'Vi turn around. But even still, it's not like that big amount of harassment really makes too much of a difference. Ramsey's going to be able to heal up pretty quickly. Oh, meanwhile, it looks like Zayak tried to secure the top rune there for Sumail, but he ends up just getting caught out from Iceberg in the rotation that comes out from Roger as well. So he ends up giving the first blow over to the Zeus. Just going to give a little bit of extra gold in his pocket. Going straight for that first item of the Ags. Doesn't even care about brown boots. Got his 3 Null Talismans online. And all he needs is now just to get that Nimbus rock and rolling. So no one's going to be able to just sort of sit himself in this lane for a really long time. It's going to be quite a while before any sort of members on the side of Na'Vi are going to be able to bring him down easily at all. Looks like always want to find. Maybe want to go to try and snatch that bounty rune, but it was already taken away. Maybe if Sumail actually rotated in there, they probably could have got the a quick kill onto him. Chooses not to go a little bit too aggressive, just wants to carry on farming. Farm on the 2 position ones, pretty even, 25 to the 23. So no big lead sort of happening just yet. Both being able to farm with relative ease. I mean, look at that net worth, who's had to spend more on regen? I mean, there's only 10 gold difference between them as well, so it's super even between the two at the moment. Ramsey's now getting pressure a little bit from General and always want to fly. Slowed up by the balls, and the nice telekinesis back. Didn't take him a lot of damage, and the Thundergod's Rampage comes out from Iceberg, and that's just enough to finish him off. Smites the Sven down, and that will actually delay the position 1 now, so we will see VTune start getting a little bit more of a lead over the top of him. Just going to have that first item timing, just that tiny bit sooner, and he might be able to start getting involved and make a little bit more action happen across the map. But I mean, it is an early kill. Early levels don't really affect too much. Short respawn timers. Even though Relocator comes in from Iceberg, not Relocator, sorry, but the Divine Favour brings Iceberg into the front. Now to try and bring down no one. Nice amount of magic damage coming out. Only one more Arc Lightning will actually be enough to finish him off, perhaps, but no one. He's just too damn quick. Now he's got his ultimate online. He's actually able just to run away. So unfortunately, it's a little bit of a wasted. Well, not wasted, but I mean, the time for Iceberg not quite going to full effect as it could have. Meanwhile, Sumail's just been sat in the mid lane, double damage activated, farming him up, even applying a lot of pressure onto the tier 1 tower, already down to below half HP at 7 minutes in. And then it's going to keep pushing forward. Actually, down bottom, Ramses falls again to General, would always want to fly. And this is even before General has his level 6. So I mean, it's only going to get more difficult for him when General does actually have that ability online. So he may not even bother coming back to this lane now. He might just go straight towards the jungle. I mean, he's level 5. He's level 4, he's nearly level 5 to have that level 3 in the cleave. He's sat in the base at the moment, he's sort of... Oh, he's waiting for his TP to be off cooldown. But, I mean, no one's already rotated down to the bot to try and take over this lane. So we'll probably be able to see Ramses TP towards the top, try and get that farm, and then transition to the jungle. But he was still... V2, he's a level and a half over the top of Ramses. Working towards that armlet as his first item. We've already got the Blade of Attack online. With finished phase boots, obviously. Meanwhile, Ramses, he's just got Morbid Musk and 1 Bracer. That's all he's got. So it's going to take him a little bit while before he can come online. Nearly got his Mask Commanders finished up. Meanwhile, there it looks like Zayak and Sumail tried to make a move onto Iceberg because he was going for that room, but they weren't able to find him. Looks like Roger may be the one to fall next. No Fisher up for another 6 seconds. Doesn't even have the mana for it. It doesn't matter. Sumail just wave forms in. Adaptive Strike to finish him off. But General's rotated around now. He does have his ult available if they want to try and make a move onto Sumail. Doing a lot of damage. Solo dropping pretty low. Arc Lightning onto the both of them. And it's actually enough to finish him off. So Iceberg getting the double kill with only 1 bullet. Very nice. Well, no one tried to maybe bait him out, but there was a high ground ward here, so they realised that he was trying to make some sort of play there. Looks like no one's on the hunt for Always Want to Fly. It's just a little bit unfortunate there for the Rubik. Puts the ward just in range of the sentry ward. Even if he only waited another 10 seconds, he would have managed to survive because that sentry is going to run out, but he just can't plan for those sort of things. Shit happens, it's Dota. So we're starting to see Ramsey's farming pace pick up. Now he does have that Mask of Mantis finished with level 3 into the cleave. Just going to burst down his creep waves and just move into jungle. But I mean, Vichune's also here just soaking up a lot of the farm himself. So it's not going to be too much for Ramses to grab. He's going to have to retreat all the way into, quite deep into the jungle to actually find any creeps to farm up. But on the opposite side of the map, Always Want to Fly, he did actually end up falling. Looked like he was just trying to maybe grab what little XP he can get at this bottom tower whilst trying to delay the push coming out from no one. Does the send up cost his life. It looks like no one else can grab the tower either way. He doesn't get too much air. What's the smell? He diving forward. Just applying a little bit of pressure onto Iceberg. Doesn't really care too much about trying to make something happen. Zayak actually, he does the neutrals. I think maybe that ball was slowing him down when he tried to go for a creep camp stack, and then the sheer mountain of ancients just brought him down pretty easily. But no one now on Smell teaming up, trying to bring down General. He's just slowly trying to walk himself away. He doesn't have any way of surviving this. He does have the 10 charges in the stick available, but probably realised he was going to die anyway. Didn't want to waste him. But yeah, it doesn't look like Smell wins no one. They were maybe thinking about trying to make a move on to Always Want to Fly, but a little bit too close to the tier 2 tower. Not quite realising who else was going to be supporting from behind, so wise choice is to fall back. They got a nice priority kill. I don't want to fly. Spots Always Want to Fly in the trees. No one. But the help there from Iceberg just makes it a little bit too dangerous for no one to try and engage, especially seeing as how he did have very little HP and mana left. So imagine that Zayak's probably got the Blink Dagger as his next core item. He actually just bought quite a lot of consumables, so he's still quite a ways yet away from having that Blink Dagger online. Still 2,000 odd gold. Well, Ramses, I think he's got the finished... Yeah, he's got the finished armlet coming out to him on the courier now. And he's actually queued up for his first item with the Skadi. Just going to go for that pure tank as well as the HP regen reduction. Definitely going to assist on whoever's getting helped out by the IO. Smell. A little bit scared about that random aggression coming up from Vichune there to start diving the tier 1 tower, and he bails. Just a nice little dummy play there by Vichune. Just puts a little bit of fear into Sumail. It's like no one actually ends up getting caught out by General and Always Want to Fly down bottom. They did end up using the Roar. Even the Thunder God's Graph was committed, even though he didn't even get the last hit for it. So just Zeus doing typical Zeus things, trying to steal those last hits from across the map. Looks like Ramses and Solo don't want to let this tier 2 tower fall for nothing. They're not even able to get the last hit. Looks like they might have been able to there with Ramses, but they weren't quite in there in time. Meanwhile, Zayak, he actually managed to get the Echo Stomp onto Iceberg. A lot of damage follow-up for the rest of it. Perfect Fisher. Stuns everyone on 4-4 with the Hand of God on top. Heals everyone up. Solo's even get dragged back into the rest of the team. And Tether on cooldown, so he can't bring himself to safety. So there's a nice attempt there by 4-4, but just nice movements from the side of Na'Vi. And able to keep this Zeus alive. Even the Nimbus there cancelling the TP coming out from Zayak. This is another extra bonus kill going to the side of Na'Vi, so 8-3 now on the score. Vichune and Iceberg top of the net worth. So they definitely have a nice comfortable game. So Smell got queued up as his next item. He's not got anything at the moment, or is that something coming in the courier? Okay, so he's just going for the Echo Saber as his first item. Well, next item, I should say, not first item. I mean, I don't know if... Is Echo Saber really necessary in this build? Because, I mean, you've got the attack speed from the Mask of Madness and the attack speed from Overcharge, which is already maxed out. So, do you really need to spend the 2,000 odd gold that it is for the Echo Saber, even though you already have these big attack speed buffing items? Surely you'd want to just go for some sort of damage, or even just get that Ags online. Yeah. But even still, that is the build he's going to go for. We'll have to see if it ends up paying off for him. He's like in the mid, no one's really aggressive position. Does end up running into V-Tune, but he doesn't want to put up the open wounds. Still pretty difficult kill to get onto this Bristleback, despite the fact there was 3 heroes surrounding him. Up top, General and Iceberg. The making move is now onto Ramses. There is the relocate coming out there from Solo. It's going to keep him safety. And even always one of Flies rotate up here now, so it looks like they might potentially just going to grab the IO when the relocate comes back in. Not much you can do to survive that. Grab comes in, pull back. The Tether goes onto the creep, but it's too much damage. Gets blown up as he's flying through the air. Poor little IO. That's the support life. So 2k gold lead going towards Na'Vi at the moment. Definitely not massive, but I mean, it is a gold lead over the top of Sven, who does have a nice little built-in farming mechanic. So any sort of lead they can get is already a good advantage over the other team in this game. Free little bottle fill up there from the shovel. It looks like Iceberg even just finds a free kill into Zyak. Always when a fly comes in there with a little arcane bolt to the back to secure it. Looks like on the back, maybe General doesn't get found out from Ramses or Solo. Just try to take away as many of the jungle creeps as he can. Looks like actually going to try and cut him off here. No one was rotating around, but General just manages to fall all the way back. Nice read from him, keeps him safe. So what is Sumail building in for his first item? Looking like he's got a casual Yash at the moment. I imagine he's just going to turn that into the Manta style. I mean, do you even need the Manta style this game? I mean, the only thing you really purge off is the open wounds. Everything else is pretty much, there's no long duration status effects. So see if maybe he's just going to keep this ultimate orb and move it straight into the Skadi that he does have actually queued up. We'll have to wait and see. V-Tune got his first ultimate orb online as well, enough money for the second one, and then he's going to be pretty damn close to finishing up this Skadi already. Only 1k gold away at 17 minutes in, so it's really nice timing. I think as soon as he's got that item online, it's going to be go time for Na'Vi to try and make some sort of move, perhaps. I mean, the later this game goes on, I think the scarier it gets for the side of Na'Vi, so they want to try and apply as much pressure as they possibly can. I mean, because just about the 4-4, they got Sven, they got Morphlin, and they got Bristleback. These 3 heroes that do scale quite nicely towards the later portions of the game. Meanwhile, it's pretty much just the Zeus and the Lifestealer on the side of Na'Vi that does scale too well. The Beastmaster's not too bad, but even still, there is a slight advantage on the side of Fatal Error for that. So BKB nearly ready for Ramses now. Only about 400 gold away. Probably have it around the same time in that that V-Tune's going to have his Skadi finish up. Actually no, V-Tune's probably going to have the Skadi finish before that. Now only 300 gold away. Yeah, it does look like Smells is going to leave this Yasha as a casual one. He would have bought the Manta style already if he was going to go for that build. I think Ramses was pinging that creep camp then. It's like, I need it. He actually just ends up disassembling his Echo Saber just so he can finish up his BKB early. That's a nice little cute play. Doesn't have this casual Oblivion stuff now, but I imagine he probably will try and turn that into a BKB. But it looks like a big group up now from the side of Na'Vi. They got that Skadi finished for VTune. So this is definitely going to be time to go. And they see people are revealing themselves on the side of 404 down bottom. So VTune's leading the charge. He does actually, Smoke gets popped by Zayak, gets caught from the side. He gets immediately blown up from Iceberg, takes way too much damage. Even Ramses tried to stand his ground with his BKB active. The relocate wasn't in time from Solo. Ramses ends up falling. Looks like Solo's still going to pay with this with his life as well. But like potentially, you know what, no one may have gotten caught, but they don't want to try and focus it. They're just going to take the easy kill of the IO. So 3 super quick kills on the side of Na'Vi. Just going to further their advantage in this game. Just I'm not quite sure why that relocate took so long from Solo to actually cast, but it did take a while. It does actually end up making Ramses pay with his life. Oh, Roger. Actually, they just commit the Echo Slam. They want to try and bring him down as fast as they possibly can. Even Icebergs with the bots, TPs in into the creeps. And no one's still playing so aggressively. Even Smell charging forward now, turns into Lifesteal. They're going to focus down on Toys on the fly. He's taking a lot of damn damage. But meanwhile, no one's falling himself. The Nimbus on top takes way too much. No one actually ends up falling. That's definitely a favourable trade for the side of Na'Vi, taking away the Bristleback and only losing the Rubik. Even though the Rubik's actually worth more gold. And actually ends up using the buyback as well, but never mind VTune, he keeps the charge going, moving now onto Samel, but Samel's got double damage room activated, turns into Lifesteal as well, so he's got his own rage activated. But there is a counter Fissure, just VTune stuck in this V. But both teams just giving each other a few slaps in the face, but no one actually ends up falling. See if perhaps maybe Na'Vi just want to move into the Roshan pit now. They've got a nice creep army available. Especially with the assistance from the Boars. And they will have a nice amount of HP sustain. It looks like they're maybe thinking about it, and yeah, Na'Vi's going to move. VTune's going to move straight into the pit. Start this all off. Now, it doesn't look like anyone from the side of 404 is going to realise this is going on just yet. I mean, the Solar Crest from the General as well, as all the Boars assisting with the damage. This is a relatively quick Roshan kill, seeing as how it's literally just 2 of them, they're actually doing all the damage here. So that's 3 Rosh, 3 Aegis, all into the hands of the Lifestealer. Just even more difficult to try and bring this guy down. Meanwhile, Iceberg actually just gets a solo kill onto Zayak as while all that's going on. So just more space across the map. Smell? He actually ends up getting caught out. Looks like the Raw just connect onto him and there's just enough damage to bring him down. I'm not sure if he managed to get his strength morph off in time or it was just way too much damage from the side of Na'Vi. But even still, just another good pick-off from Na'Vi now. There's such momentum on their side. A Roche plus 2 quick kills. Even VTune just leading the charge straight towards the enemy triangle. Ramses looked like he wanted to try and farm this up, but VTune's just going to take it away. No one actually gets spot out by this ward, and there's actually going to be quite a few TPs coming out from the side of Na'Vi now. They want to try and collapse on him. Just try and stop what push he is doing. That's nice. No one's trying to survive, but there's just way too much here from the side of Na'Vi. And once again, another kill. Na'Vi just getting further and further away with this game. It's still only a 3k net, XP lead, which is hardly anything, to be honest. So it's not too bad for the side of 404 in that aspect, but a smoke up immediately now for the side of Na'Vi, and an infested General now. Leading the charge, got his Raw available. So see who they're actually able to run into. Might potentially just be Zayak. I'm not sure if that if the Eagle actually saw him in time. But everyone on the side of 4-4 is playing so damn defensively, hugging this tier 2 tower. They don't want to show themselves at all. A little bit of a Mexican standoff at the moment. Actually, 4-4 is going to do a smoke up of their own, but it looks like they can fall back towards their triangle. Maybe try and make some sort of wraparound. And so finally Ramsey shows himself, and that's immediately everyone on the side of Na'Vi starts heading towards him. Thundergor's Wrath comes out, the jump forward, connection onto Ramsey, he gets roared in place. There's not enough sustain coming out from Solo. He tries to go for the relocate play, but it's not fast enough, and he ends up falling. Iceberg, he was getting taken on there by Sumail and Zayak, but there's enough help from the rest of Na'Vi, and he brings him down. Godlike spree now, into the hands of Iceberg, even cancelling Sumail's TP, so he couldn't even get away. Even the bash is up, extra damage, Iceberg, triple kill now for him. Doing such a lovely job in this game. I think it's purely run off the fact that no one on the side of 4-4 was able to get an early pick-off onto him. Like, normally, you'd probably see him fall a couple of times in the laning phase with a Fissure blocking him off, and then the pure damage that comes out from the Morphling would have been enough, but he's still 10-0-9. He's been there for 19 of his team's 20 kills. I mean, it's not too difficult as a Zeus, seeing as how he has just got permanent global presence, as well as Arc Lightning just hitting everyone in those team fights, but even still. It's going pretty damn nice with Iceberg this game. And Na'Vi did the siege in the tier 3s now. Looks like maybe Ramses want to try and delay this as long as possible. There's still an Aegis in the hands of Vichun. And he just turns and starts laying into Ramses as soon as he gets close. Quite difficult for him to try and do much here. No one's trying to make a little bit of distraction in the back lines. But even still, Vichun, he just gets a solo kill onto Ramses! He's moving on to Zayak now. There wasn't Nimbus to help out, but it's a double kill for Vichun. This could just be GG. I mean, everyone on the side of 4-4 is just falling to this solo lifesteal, and they can't even take away his Aegis now. No one's quickly going to fall. Finally, a relocate save actually comes out successfully from Solo. So he will fall, but I mean, everyone just suffers so damn much. Rax falls, you end up losing 2 heroes. You can't save anything. You don't even manage to take away the Aegis. I'm not quite sure what 4-4's supposed to do, but Infest comes out from General, jumps straight forward, raw connection, and Sumail just melts. He's just gone. Now they're focusing everything towards no one. No relocate save. Go for the tier 4s. 4-4, they just tap out. They realise they are so screwed in this game, and they don't want any more of it. It's way too demoralising to stay in this one. Oh, big Echo Slam comes out at the very end, but it's too late. You've already tapped out, guys. So, really well played there by Na'Vi, just completely running away with that game. Super impressed by their showing. But yeah, I just think it was just those first couple of failed ganks from Zayak in the laning phase. You can see that he attempted a couple of times to come and block off the escape of Iceberg with those fissures, but just never worked out. And Iceberg just had the freest game ever, finishing up 11-0-12. Was there for the 23 kills of the 24 on the side of Na'Vi total. So lovely showing there by Iceberg. But that is game 1, and that is Na'Vi taking this away. So see if they're able to keep this momentum rolling and possibly take this in a 2 series, 2-0, or maybe 4-4. They potentially might mix something around, but everything just did not work too well in that game. I mean, Ramses ended the game 0-5-0. Eesh, that's hard. That's real rough. But even still, we'll see what they're able to do. But if you guys have enjoyed what I've been able to do so far, if you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, or whatever, then please think about following me on either one of those, or even my Twitter, where I announce what I'm going to be casting ahead of time, and whatever tournament's going on at the time. But at the moment, it's obviously the Epic League. So I'll be putting on there what I'm going to be casting next. So hopefully if you guys enjoyed, then please stick around for Game 2, and I will see you then. See ya.